Jalen Williams had 40, SGA had 31, and the Oklahoma City Thunder pick up their second consecutive win in the 2025 NBA Finals to take a commanding 3-2 win with a chance to bring home the trophy on Thursday night in Indiana. This is your Game 5 recap of the 2025 Finals here on the Flame Entertainment and Sports. All right, guys, so welcome in once again to this Game 5 recap of the 2025 NBA Finals. As I said in the intro, the OKC Thunder pick up their second win in a row. It's the first time the Indiana Pacers have lost consecutive games in the playoffs. So, yeah, Game 6 will be Thursday in Indiana. Indiana, it's do or die for them. And the Thunder, they win, they get the trophy. If they lose, they live to fight another day in OKC for Game 7. But that said, we're talking Game 5 on this edition of the podcast. And as I said, yeah, Jalen Williams, 40 points. He was just absolutely incredible. As the series gone on, he's continued to improve as a contributor on the offensive side. I would say from Game 1, he's been great on defense, but we've seen little by little how great his offense has been. As each game has gone on, he's gotten more points in each game, this being his first 40-point game. And, in general, for anyone to have this type of performance in the finals is impressive to me. Whether it's your rookie year, your third year, your 25th year, whatever it may be, to perform at this high level in the finals to me is just incredible. But I think we have to highlight the fact that Jalen Williams, he's only in his third year in the league, and he's playing like an absolute superstar in this finals. I would say he's been great throughout the whole playoffs and the whole season, but I would say this has been his best series of the whole playoffs. And I think that speaks volumes, especially when you consider the fact that he's the number 2 guy in OKC, being that they have the MVP of the league and SGA is their number 1 guy. SGA also had another great game. He had 31 points in this one. But, this goes beyond the stat sheet for me for both Jalen Williams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because I'm more of an eye test type of guy in general in sports over stats. Like, I'll say numbers and they're impressive, but eye test for me is the biggest thing. And I just saw JDub and SGA, they're super efficient on the offensive side. That's what stood out to me the most. The efficiency, and most importantly, they're both very aggressive. SGA as always was aggressive, but then JDub, his aggressiveness, particularly in these last 2 to 3 games, I feel has really risen the ceiling of the type of team the Thunder could be, because he's taking off a lot of pressure now off of the shoulders of SGA. And I felt the first couple of games of the series, it was really like SGA on offense, and then Jalen had a couple points, and Chet, he had a couple dunks, and Aaron Wiggins had a good game, but it wasn't really like, after the first 2 games, I wasn't fully impressed, I would say, with like the overall offense. But with that said, I believe the aggressiveness and assertiveness of JDub has ultimately led OKC to being in this position, being 1 win away from winning an NBA championship. And yeah, I'm just super impressed by this young Thunder team. Like, they've impressed me already, starting last year and then continuing into this year, but I didn't think they'd be at this level yet. Even with how good of a regular season they had, I just wasn't 100% sure that they'd be at this level to actually win the championship. So yeah, all the credit in the world to OKC, and as I said, they have a chance now to capture the first title they've ever captured in OKC on Thursday night in Indiana. And as for the Pacers, Tyrese Haliburton at the start of Game 5, he got hurt. And, credit to him, he came back later in the game. He came back, I believe, the last minute of the first half. And then he played for a majority of the second half. And, all the credit in the world to him. But ultimately, I would say with Tyrese on the floor, it was kind of like if, the Thunder had 5 guys and the Pacers had 4. And this is not like, I'm not trying to throw a shot at Tyrese at all. He's been incredible, obviously. But I just feel at times we kind of think even if like a superstar or star player is hurt, we still got to throw them out there because they're going to make an impact. And ultimately, I feel like yesterday, with the amount of playing time Haliburton got in that second half, actually ended up hurting the Pacers. And I'm not putting blame on Rick Carlisle or anyone on the Pacers, This is what you do. It's the finals. You want your best player to be out there. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because in the third quarter, the Pacers were actually able to cut this to a 2-point game. And they're led by TJ McConnell, who's had an incredible finals series. And he had 18 points off the bench. And his energy, his effort, his high IQ, his defense, getting steals, and going to the free throw line as well. I mean, TJ McConnell, I would say, was the best overall offensive performer in Game 5 for the Pacers. And ultimately, Rick Carlisle did uncharacteristically put in McConnell towards the end of the game, which he hadn't really done this series, which is understandable, TJ is really meant to be the backup at the end of the day of Tyrese, but he did leave Tyrese on the floor, but then, he threw in McConnell with him, but ultimately it didn't really work out, and they're kind of a weird fit together. And overall, I just feel like Haliburton's injury very much impacted his performance yesterday. Not that he's had the greatest series, because honestly, as great as he is, and obviously he had that crazy game one shot, and the lead into that comeback victory and all that, I kind of feel like overall he hasn't been as great as many of us expect him to be, because we've seen him come up so big in big time moments, and we've seen him being one of the leaders in changing the culture in Indiana, and helping them get to this point where they've gone 2 years in a row in the conference finals. Now they're in the finals right now, and they have 2 wins against the Thunder, and obviously Haliburton's been an essential part. But overall, I feel like he's been okay this series, and it's unfortunate now that he's playing hurt. Ultimately, I know they ran some tests on early Tuesday that Shams reported about. He said it's a right calf strain. There's still no, as of this recording, I'm recording Tuesday, June 17th at 10:23 p.m. Eastern time. As of this recording, there's no official word on whether or not Haliburton will play in Game 6. I believe he will. I think the only chance of him not playing is if it's more serious than initially the Pacers thought, and they don't want to risk anything happening to him. So it's going to be interesting to monitor. Ultimately, we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, going to wrap up this Game 5 recap of the 2025 NBA Finals. Pretty sweet one for you all out there. I just wanted to make it like a bonus type of episode, being that we do have our weekly episode coming out Thursday. I didn't want to make this one too long. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed, like I said, our Game 5 recap of the 2025 NBA Finals. Now the Thunder, they have a chance to win, and be the champions of the basketball world on Thursday night. Indiana, it's do or die for them at home in front of the home crowd. We'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, with all that said, make sure to keep up with us here. Keep it locked into Flame Entertainment and Sports on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok at @theflame_ES. And with all that said, till next time, everyone, take care.